Today we continue to confront the reality of the porn pandemic. Yesterday I mentioned that there's some things that are in our own power, things that we can do, that we can implore, just by being a little bit smarter, more attentive. We can look at our environment, our own triggers, and we can actually start moving forward by purifying the environment around us. But by definition, this vice, this addiction, this thing that continues to attack us, we need outside help. In fact, I'm going to suggest to you today 3 pillars that are essential in overcoming this vice, this addiction. And this is for a long-term solution. Just by using porn hacks, we might be good today. It might help us throughout this week, but it's not the long-term solution. We need more. And so the very first thing that I would like to suggest is accountability. The very reason that pornography is so powerful and that this addiction has power over us is because it's so secretive. If you had an alcohol addiction, at some point we would know about it. If you had a drug addiction, at some point it's going to show and we're going to find out. But the reality of pornography and masturbation and lust is that it can be secretive for your whole life. No one has to know about it. And therefore it keeps us enslaved because we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to bring it out into the open. It's too embarrassing. And yet that is going to be the remedy. Accountability. And there's 2 ways that I would like to give you confidence that you can actually do accountability, because I know it's scary. The first one is called Covenant Eyes. It's an accountability software that you can put on your phone or on your computer. And this accountability software isn't like others. It doesn't just block pornography. It actually plays on our virtue. It's run by Christians who want us to live a more virtuous life. And so what it actually does is you sign yourself up for an accountability partner, someone who agrees to be on this with you. And we can assign you one of those if you need that. But you have an accountability partner who will actually get a report of what you've looked at this week, this month, however we want to set it up. And it plays on our pride, right? It kills our pride of not wanting to be known or seen. And it allows us to live in humility, to live in intimacy with somebody else who is trying to help me to grow in virtue. And so we, like Jesus, we baptize that evil. We overcome it. And it allows us to live in virtue. The second thing that I would like to mention is that here at St. John's especially, we have accountability groups. I know a lot of parishes have this as well, but we have accountability groups, a men's group and a women's group. And they're run by some of our students, our Catholic Illini students who have struggled in chastity in the past, who know the struggle is real, and have found ways of being successful in overcoming this vice, this addiction. And because they've been successful, they want to help others. They know the frustration. And they're sitting ready to help you. And their emails are going to be at the bottom of this video for you to contact them. The second pillar is spiritual warfare. Right? We need the power of heaven and earth, the entire church throughout the world and in heaven praying for us. We need to implore those graces. Doesn't heaven want us to overcome addiction, want us to overcome our vices? Of course. That's the entire point, for us to be able to live in freedom with Jesus Christ. Y'all, and so we have to develop our spiritual life. There has to be a spiritual foundation. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. But we need to implore the grace through prayer, through the sacraments, through filling our head with something else, spiritual reading. We need all of those things in order to fight well. And we, as Catholics, we have a secret weapon. And the secret weapon is the Blessed Virgin Mary. She does spiritual warfare against Satan. Satan hates her. This is why it's so good to implore her intercession to her Son, Jesus Christ, who crushes the head of the serpent. And so I ask you to pick your favorite Marian prayer. Maybe it's the rosary. Maybe you want to pray a daily rosary for this specific intention, for freedom, for purity, for chastity. Or you have another Marian prayer that you love to pray. It's your favorite. Use that one. Use that and pray it daily for this intention. But implore Our Lady. The third thing is counseling. That sounds really scary, but it's not for everybody. It's not essential, but it is essential for those who have something deeper. We have recognized that in so many, that pornography is actually just a cover. It's a symptom. It's not the actual problem. Wouldn't you love to hear from a professional who would tell you that actually pornography is not your problem? That there's something deeper, there's an emotional wound maybe that you haven't dealt with, and if we deal with that wound, then you would actually be free of this addiction? We find that in so many different people who haven't dealt with something in their life. And a counselor can help us to do that. And we have counselors here at St. John's at our disposal, people who have asked to help us in our ministry. And so those 3 pillars, accountability, spiritual warfare, counseling when necessary, we have to bring this thing out into the open. We are not helpless. There are resources, and we have to implore these pillars if we're going to be free. Finally, I'm just going to give you 3 resources, then they're also going to be posted down here below the video. One is going to be a website, a podcast, and this accountability software. I could tell you 20 different things, but I'm just going to give you 3, and you can search the rest on your own. The first website is called Integrity Restored. This is a Catholic priest who's on the cutting edge of helping people to find freedom. Integrity Restored. Check out their blog. They also have a podcast. There's many resources there. It's solid. The second one is Matt Fradd. And it's his podcast. Many of you know his name. He's an Australian, so maybe you even enjoy listening to him because of his accent. But he has a podcast called Love People, Use Things. Check out his podcast. There's several seasons, and they're all good. And the third is this accountability software, Covenant Eyes. It's going to help us to be successful, to have accountability. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to tell you that if any of our Catholic Illini students who this weekend contact our men's group or our women's group on the emails that are posted below, I'm going to personally pay for your subscription to the accountability software Covenant Eyes, because I want to help you to find freedom. So I ask you, put this in our hands. We are here to help you. We can't do it on our own, but we can do it together. Let's find that help. Let's find freedom. Let's find the freedom that it is to live with Jesus Christ.